So another tool that can really help you with retouching faces is the Remove tool. This works pretty much just exactly like the spot healing brush tool, but it does a really good job at trying to figure out what should be replacing the subject that you are removing. So I'm going to take that one and I'm going to make sure I have sample all layers checked, so this will be done non-destructively. I'm going to create a new layer, so I'm working on my blank layer. Again, sample all layers is selected, and I'm just going to click on the areas that I want to remove. So I want to remove this little mole, and it takes a second here, and it did a pretty good job. I might want to check on that, do it one more time, because it still left a little bit of a faint mark. Okay, now it's pretty much gone. And so now I could go, this is just exactly like the spot healing brush. So the way this tool is working, it is looking at whatever is in the middle of the diameter of your brush, like my crosshairs here, and it's seeing how that texture or color tone looks different from the rest of the area outside the center, and it's replacing it. So it's trying to see, okay, what looks different and how do I replace it? So for big areas like this, I still think that I would use the patch tool for larger sections. As I did in the other video, go back to this one. But what I wanted to say is what it's doing is it is blending. So that's why this is a good tool to be working with for face. We never want to use the clone stamp tool for a face because it's going to give you too harsh results. We need it to blend. So if, for example, like on this hot air balloon image, I wanted to use that remove tool to get rid of the balloon, and I'm going to unlock my background and create a new layer and make sure I'm on the remove tool, and sample all layers is selected. So now I'll do kind of the same thing. I'm going to paint over the thing I want to remove and let go. Photoshop does its thing, and it creates this weird little artifact left over, and that's because it is trying to blend. It is not the same as like the clone stamp that will actually go on top of it. So it's like the healing brush, and it's working to blend. So really this tool is best for working with the faces. I'm going to undo that. So if you wanted to get rid of this, what I would suggest is either clone it out, so clone some of the sky on top of it, or let's see, I'll just make like a basic selection here. And so this isn't really relevant to this week's assignment, but just since we're kind of going over these more erasure tools, this is what I went over last week. Make a selection, make sure you're on, well actually you don't need to be on the new layer yet, so I'll be on my background, right click, content aware fill, and then if you like it and it did a really good job, make sure that it is outputting to a new layer so it's non-destructive, and hit OK. So that's the method when you want to completely get rid of something. So these tools that I've been talking about here are good because they blend. So these are the tools you want to use for your face. Lastly, I'll go over content aware move tool. So let's take this image. I'll take this one. Let's bring it back to its beginning. So when I had the two layers here and I unlocked it. And in this one, I'm going to make a selection around this hot air balloon. And now I'm going to move it. I'll put it over here. And I want to rotate it and make it smaller. And I can do that because I had checked transform on drop. I'll point that out again. I'm going to make it smaller and I'm going to rotate it. And once I am satisfied with it, I hit the check mark, and this one's going to disappear and this one tries to blend in. Now it did a pretty good job, but if you look really close, you can see that the blue is a little bit different. So it didn't do a great job of blending in, which is why, so these AI tools are pretty good for removing backgrounds and doing content fills and things like that, but it's always still very useful to know how to do some of this yourself. So I've created a new layer. I'll take my clone stamp tool because I'm not trying to blend, I'm trying to actually reproduce. Make sure it's on current and below. Create a new sample. make my brush really small, and now I could go in and replace the kind of brighter blue with the darker blue of that sky section there, okay? So, you know, these tools are really great, but most of the time they don't do a perfect job, and so you have to know how to either clone or maybe to touch things up with the healing brush or these brushes if it's on the face yourself. Okay, so just remember, do it all non-destructively.